Coming up on this wintry edition of Inside Bellingham, flu and flu vaccines are still in the news. Did you get your H1N1 flu vaccine? And in November, the sensational new Lightcatcher Museum building opened amid speeches and amazing array of artistic exhibits designed to enlighten, entertain, educate, and inspire. We have more. And making our neighborhoods friendlier for everyone. The York neighborhood celebrates their new and improved Franklin Park, a hit with both kids and adults. And do you know what a coccolithophore is? You certainly will at the end of this story. Stay tuned. All this and more coming up next, right here on Inside Bellingham. I'm Laura Greenfield, and this is the opening exhibition at the Whatcom Museum's new Lightcatcher building. It's the first ever building in Bellingham built from the ground up to be a home and showcase for art exhibits and family fun. The Lightcatcher is a work of art in itself with its iconic 180-foot long glass wall that catches and distributes light. Inside, the building's series of unique galleries connected by inviting open spaces and wide corridors entice visitors to move from one fascinating exhibit to the next. And outside, rain gardens, a green roof, and a rainwater collection system help make the building environmentally friendly. It's an inspiring commitment of time and funding from many individuals, businesses, and organizations in our city. It's a welcome addition to the downtown arts district. This is the main lobby of the Lightcatcher building. Admission here is $10 for adults, $8 for students and seniors, $4.50 for children under 5. Or you can purchase a museum membership and get free admission all year long. We're here on a quiet Wednesday morning to film, but if you like crowds, you should have showed up on opening day, where more than 4,000 visitors came to celebrate the building and see its fascinating exhibits.
Well, I want to thank Mayor Pike and the support of the Whatcom Museum Foundation and the city. If you walked by this building yesterday afternoon, you'd never believe that we'd be able to open this morning. This staff has worked so very hard, and they deserve kudos for that.
Okay, when I say three, I want you to come to the ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay!
We found a fabulous collection owned by Dreek and Michael Zarinsky in Boise, Idaho, and I found them through other museum colleagues. Their collection is probably over 2,000 pieces. They've been collecting most of their lives. I think their first piece that they purchased really was their college rent money to acquire it, but it is a fabulous collection of contemporary work, all contemporary work by living artists. Many of whom have immigrated to the United States from other parts of the world, some from the United States and even some who are from the Northwest.
Very impressive, very impressive. Both architecturally and the contents. It's very well laid out. It works for all ages, from children up to older children.
The FIG, or Family Interactive Gallery, is a place for kids and parents to have fun together exploring art, history, science, and our environment.
I think that's really cool, especially like the thing where it shoots color out and then you can like move in front of it and it shows it on a screen, and it's really nice.
It's amazing to watch parents and kids go into the Family Interactive Gallery. We're discovering things, though, just in the few weeks we've been open. This is a very, it's a participatory experience. It's not something where kids are just left on their own. We encourage parents to participate, too. And oftentimes, we're observing that people don't know what to do. Lots of the kids know what to do immediately. But we're putting out little placards that sort of give instruction of what to do, what's the age-appropriate level, what are the learning things that you get from doing this activity.
Allied Arts held a free art workshop for kids in the Lightcatcher studio space. This was a huge hit with children and parents.
I'm working with Allied Arts, and we're doing a group community project, kind of loosely based on John Grady's sculpture project down below. And so we have an armature structure here that we created, and the public is coming through and they're able to participate by painting with watercolors on a piece of paper. And this is called a coccolithophore. It's a small microscopic creature that he based his large sculpture project on.
Do you want to take it home or do you want to put it on the wall? Madison, that's beautiful.
I'll be putting mine on the wall.
You guys want to do some watercolors? Oh, you've never been in there. Oh, yeah. Watch out.
What's your favorite part?
Everything.
One of our goals here was to create a museum that is welcoming and that you can see into it. You can actually see into this building in 17 different places as you walk around the sidewalk. The wall is the kind of the jewel, and everything else is like, I equated it to a New York loft or a warehouse building. It's just the simplest construction that you can think of, and it operates like a loft space, totally flexible, works great for showing art. So I guess one element, it's a big element, but it's the loft space that is rectilinear, playing off of the curve. That to me is the element, and how one is precious and the other is mundane. To me, that's a good thing, and how one curves and the other is straight.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think the idea of the large glass wall is that it gathers light. It's kind of aiming at the sort of the southwest sky, and it encloses a courtyard. And the shape of the wall kind of not only does it follow the sun's pattern in the sky, but it also kind of embraces the courtyard, so you feel sort of held or cradled by it. But the wall does many things, and it, because it's glass, it bounces light back into the courtyard, so it makes the outside space lighter and more friendly. But it also diffuses light and brings that into the space, and we can see that here. And then in the evening, when it's dark outside and you turn the lights on inside, it becomes a sort of a beacon of light or a lantern out into the community.
for the first time, we have a fabulous group of trained docents who are in the galleries, and every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 1 o'clock, the public is invited to participate and go along a guided tour with a docent. So we're interpreting the work, we're just, interacting with our visitors, and people are loving it. I want to encourage everybody to come check us out and hopefully join. I think it's a wonderful institution to belong to, and across the country, people are joining museums and visiting their libraries more and more, and I think these are important assets to community, especially during times like we have now.
The Whatcom Museum at the Lightcatcher is open Tuesday through Sunday from noon to 5 p.m. You can find out more about special programs, exhibits, memberships, and more at www.whatcommuseum.org. This is the Family Interactive Gallery at the Whatcom Museum's new Lightcatcher building. You know, the H1N1 flu and flu shots continue to be in the news as health officials urge people to get vaccinated. Throughout the fall, local health officials distributed limited vaccines to eligible community members. City of Bellingham, Whatcom County, and St. Joseph Hospital officials formed a partnership to manage information, schedule appointments, and distribute vaccines. It took an extensive effort and a lot of volunteers, especially to mobilize vaccine clinics to serve children and other people at high risk for flu complications. We visited one of the early clinics to see how it all works.
We're thinking about 1,000 people will go through the room. And we're hoping to give all of the vaccine that we have allocated for this clinic out today. It's a little bit complicated because we have different vaccine preparations. And there are some vaccines that are injectable and some that are nasal. And depending upon age and health conditions, we have to screen the people for which vaccine is most appropriate for them. I'd say that we are doing about the same as other places in the U.S. as far as the number of people reporting to emergency rooms with influenza-like illness, the number of people hospitalized. We recommend just the standard disease prevention measures. They don't sound exciting, but wash your hands, cover your cough. If you're sick, stay home. That's what we really recommend, and that's really going to help us reduce transmission of the disease.
Have you received your H1N1 vaccine? Vaccines are now in greater supply and available to everyone throughout Whatcom County. Check www.em.whatcomcounty.org or call 778-8170 for updated H1N1 clinic schedules and other information. On a crisp day in November, the York neighborhood celebrated the opening of Franklin Park. While not officially a new park, it certainly feels like one, with a spanking new picnic shelter, kid-designed playground, and fresh landscaping that all replaced an old and worn-in area that really didn't look like much fun. But on opening day at the new and improved Franklin Park, kids and adults, with a little musical help from the Whatcom High School Marching Band, were sharing in a great time in a new, terrific neighborhood asset.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, this was originally a beautiful old elementary school, and during that period when older things were being torn down, that was torn down. At Franklin Elementary, and when they tore it down, the neighbors all get together and said, we want a park. And so they worked originally to do this. I think it was in the 80s. Well, it still had the chain link fence around it from the old school, and the neighbors tried to level it, but it didn't work. So it was very muddy with an open play field, an older playground that was past its life, and a basketball court that everyone kind of sprained their ankles on because it was so bumpy, and that was it. And then we found out how much parks cost. So we got a grant for $150,000 and it wasn't enough. So it's been, for 4 years now, we've been working a lot on this. On the projects, we have a work party once a month, so we've had about 50 work parties, 3 hours on Saturdays. So it's been a real neighborhood effort. We did surveys of the whole neighborhood, 2 complete surveys to find out what people wanted in the park. Are you ready? It's like a gift. We're going to cut it and this is a present, right? Ready?
Everybody's attention now. We're going to be doing some kind of performance stuff over here, and I hear they have a one-armed juggler coming. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, 4 juggling balls in one hand, all at the same time. Woo! Okay, just a second. All right.
And I think so many people in this neighborhood feel like it's their park because they've worked on the projects, they've been part of picking what they wanted. So it's been a wonderful community builder.
You can find out more about all of Bellingham's parks, including the one nearest to you, at www.cob.org/parks. You probably know what a coccolithophore is. Maybe you know where to find one. Maybe you got one for your birthday. Okay, probably not. John Grade is a Northwest artist with an international reputation for landscape sculpture. His sculptures have been on exhibition in England, Ireland, San Francisco, Seattle, and now here. His giant work titled Elephant Bed occupies the main gallery at the museum's new Lightcatcher building. It's a big hit with kids and adults. We caught up with John at the grand opening so he could tell us about his art and what it has to do with coccolithophores.
A coccolithophore is a microorganism that lives in mass in many, many millions just below the surface of the sea. And they discolor the ocean so that if you just see them from a satellite, you get a kind of swath of turquoise that might be 100 miles wide. But they're too small as individuals for us to make them out. And that organism then deposits in great enough quantity to create a layer of calcium. And where it's done that, in terms of the original inspiration, was in Brighton, so you have the White Cliffs of Dover. So they're the central source of inspiration for the piece.
And you have to read the material to understand what these giant bell-like things are. I mean, they're based on these sea creatures, microscopic sea creatures called coccolithophores, but I think the public loves it. They walk in and they say, oh, wow.
It looked like the room was made for it, and I doubt if it really was, but it just fits so beautifully. Elephant bed, yeah, that was incredible. I had actually seen pictures of it online, and so I really wanted to check it out, and it's great. And the artist was here, and I got to meet him, and that was really fun.
I thought a lot about what that would sound like, these small shells, these white shells drifting and kind of clamoring together as they went down toward the seabed. And imagining that sound, what it would be like to be amongst them as they made that sort of journey downward. So part of what we're trying to do with the installation is imagining that as we can move through them and kind of enter into a different scale.
I have to tell you one story. We had 2 young boys come in here at the end of one afternoon They paid their admissions. They were not accompanied by an adult. One of them had a skateboard, and he knew to check the skateboard in the coat area. And they went walking down. They didn't go to the Family Interactive Gallery. They went down to the art gallery, and they walked in and saw John Grotti's installation, and they said, "Oh, wow." And one turned to the other and said, "We're going to be here all day." And, and in fact, when I saw them as they were coming down the hallway, it was time to close, and I said, "How was it?" And they said, "Well, we didn't even get to the fun area, and we haven't even seen upstairs." So we gave them free passes to come back the next day.
I love the idea that people actively engage an environmental issue and that they do it kind of viscerally with their bodies. I hope that it might be a prompt to kind of investigate some of what's going on in our oceans.
Elephant Bed is at the Lightcatcher Museum building now through mid-April. You can find out more about John at his website, www.johngrotte.com, and more about the Lightcatcher at www.whatcommuseum.org. It's winter in the Northwest, a great time to check out Bellingham's many options for indoor recreation, entertainment, and inspiration. The museum's new Lightcatcher building, the Mount Baker Theater, the Arnie Hanna Aquatic Center, and more. If you have thoughts about this show or others on BTV10, we'd like to hear from you. You can reach us through our website or by email. BTV10 programming is now available on the internet via our website. You can watch BTV10 free from anywhere in the world, any time of day or night. Wishing you a safe and happy winter and new year. I'm Laura Greenfield. Thanks for watching.